Okay, Steve, apparently we had a technical malfunction and we lost the first half hour of the meeting here, so we're going to give it a brief run-through and do a summary of the superintendent updates.
In the meeting here is Steve Bishop, Chairman, Water Sewer Commission.
Jim Jordan, Water Sewer Commission member.
Janice Roberge, Administrative Secretary. Karen McManus, Weston and Sampson.
And John Harrop, Assistant Water and Sewer Superintendent. Going over what we had already discussed. We had discussed quarterly sprinkler flow testing fees. We wanted to reduce that number from the $250 fee per 2-inch sprinkler drain that it was on to $75 per 2-inch sprinkler drain. This is to just cover the cost of the water and personnel that are out there, and the cost it is to the department to use that water, and to make sure we have qualified operators out there, making sure fire suppression companies are performing these tests correctly, flowing at the correct rate, not shutting off too fast, not shutting off with brown water. So that we wanted to reduce from $250 to $75 per test, and that's per 2-inch sprinkler drain. The more drains, it's $75 per each drain. For hydrant flow testing, it's a $250 fee right now. We wanted to keep that as is, and that $250 is for the first fire hydrant flowed for a hydrant flow testing. If for some reason additional hydrants needed to be flowed, it would be $100 for each additional hydrant.
That's not changing, correct? The only thing that's changing is the first one, correct?
I believe the fire hydrant flow testing, the $100 additional is new. So yes. As far as fire pump testing goes, the fee right now is $250 per test if the fire pump is tied off the distribution system. If it's tied off the water fire suppression tank, they won't be charged $250 because we're metering the water going into that tank to begin with. If a building does have more than one fire pump, it'll be $250 per test because fire pumps use a significant amount of water and can have a significant amount of impact on the system.
And that's what we charge now.
We charge $250, but it has been a flat fee, regardless of how many fire pumps
per test.
It's per test, and I believe only one business in Norton has more than one at a location. We also touched on yesterday there was a service leak on Elm Street due to a utility provider drilling to put in a telephone pole without notifying the water department for a markout. The water department is not covered under DigSafe. When someone calls in for a DigSafe ticket, the water department does not, the water is not marked out by DigSafe. That's something that you need to contact the water department about, and the water department will mark that out. Water and sewer departments will both mark that out. Because if you don't, like the foreman on this job said he had a DigSafe ticket, that he was all cleared to go, and obviously he wasn't because he hit a water service and there was water coming out of the ground, and we had to shut the main down feeding this. This was on Elm Street, feeding this service in order to fix it. So not every time a service is hit is it a simple fix of turning off a curb stop and fixing the problem. Sometimes it can be much larger, and we're fortunate that it happened there and not someplace where there's a 16-inch main or a 12-inch main that would have been much harder to control. So we're having 2 fire pump tests this week, May 27th on East Main Street. That's posted on the town website and in the Sun Chronicle. And tomorrow we have a sprinkler flow test on 366 Old Colony Road, and on Friday we have one on West Main Street. After the 48-hour pumping test was performed at the new Well 5A location, we moved our well technician over to our existing Well 4 location. This has been mentioned in prior meetings. We're performing a quick cleaning there while we switch out the well pump and motor in an attempt to achieve a higher flow rate than what we have right now. And I know I was waiting on some stuff at 6, so it made sense for them to go over to 4 and take care of that. Tomorrow, the 26th, Wednesday the 26th, we will be having TechSmith come and install a flow meter on Howard Street that we had previously talked about and ordered and whatnot. So it'll be nice to get that done to give us the most accurate reading we can get of the flow entering Wheaton system from the town side. We have a detail set up for 8 a.m. End of Howard Street at the intersection of Howard and Taunton Ave. So if you're going by that way, expect there to be a little bit of backup, hopefully nothing too drastic. They have to get out on the road and probably put a plug in on Taunton Ave. Shouldn't be much flow to begin with, but there's always some coming from somewhere. Yeah. So, what else do we have? Last week, we deployed our electronic signs to remind residents to conserve water as we're moving into the summer months. A lot of people ask us if we have a water ban. Essentially, yes. What Norton has in place as part of this water management permit is a restriction that no automatic type sprinklers of any kind can be connected to the municipal water system. This includes underground irrigation systems and the sprinklers that attach to the end of the garden hose. Anything you can connect to the hose and leave unattended is not allowed, ever, if it's connected to the municipal water system. We do allow handheld hose watering. By having these regulations, it controls the amount of water that is essentially wasted on lawns by irrigation. A person will have a much better gauge on how much water their grass needs when they're staring looking at it. It's easy to put a sprinkler on and 3 hours later forget you left it on when you have to shut it off in a half hour and treated water is being wasted growing grass. And we all like to have good looking lawns and good looking gardens, but we also like to have plenty of drinking water and fire protection when we need it. A few people have asked about the fines given by the department. We do have the authority to hand out fines for those in non-compliance with the town's rules and regulations. For the most part, we want to educate people. We don't want to create any ill feelings or anything like that. We'll let someone off with a warning usually. Then there is a fine system set up in place. I believe it's $200, then $300 for the next offense, and then I think it's $300 with option to terminate service if someone continues doing it. And we ask that people keep their eyes out for people watering. A lot of people in town have private wells, and we have a list of most of those people. So if you call and say this person's watering their lawn and we know they have a private well, it's not like we're going to go bother them or anything like that. And I know no one wants to tattletale, for lack of a better word, on
do they have to register those wells?
So I know I believe it's the health department they register them through, and I know that if you have a well, you're supposed to have a sign saying visible, a conspicuous sign saying non-potable well in use.
What if that well is on the same aquifer we're getting our water from, town water? Still doesn't matter.
I don't know about that. I don't.
Yeah. We'll govern that.
Yeah.
There's been talk, but so far there's no DEP regs on that.
Yeah.
But on an individual small well, like a private homeowner.
So important to mention that in extreme cases of drought, you can limit the water of private wells. That you were just asking this about the stressed aquifer. I don't know if that has to do with primacy or what have you. How that works exactly. I've never been in that situation since I've been here. We've never had to implement those restrictions.
That's only in like some extreme.
Yeah. The focus is controlling outside irrigation system. That doesn't need to be used. Golf, if that were to happen, golf courses and such. Not someone's home that they. This is what I wanted to discuss in the beginning. Have a copy of an MOA from 195 Mansfield Ave and the Norton Water Department. We've been told that Mass DOT wants state road opening permits to be submitted by the utility owner. The explanation given is that in the event of contractor leaving town, within the 1 year they own the excavation and road repair, the utility would then be responsible for that repair. I'd like the board to review this draft MOA, as it was mentioned, that it may be a good idea to send this out to legal counsel prior to Frank's signature. There's also an authorization letter, and they kind of, as far as what Frank and I can tell, contradict themselves a little bit, which is a little odd. So I have, here's the MOA. No, that's for Steve. Yeah, so this is the MOA. And I also have a copy of a letter that was recommended from Mass DOT District 5 rep. This allows the developer at 195 to file for the Mass DOT permit with our approval. So, one saying utility owners have to file the permit, but then this is saying that it seems like they can file it themselves. There's a little confusion on that. Takes a ton of work off us, the utility owners, for the permitting process. It can be a challenge dealing with Mass DOT. I don't know if that's SHAPS or SHAPS program. We'd like the board to review this letter.
The SHAPS, that's the permitting process, right?
The online DOT.
Yeah. We'd like them to review this letter. If you agree with the document, your approval will be represented by your signature on it, and Frank will have the document notarized and sent off to keep projects moving along. So that's the MOA, and this is the letter that we received. I believe that was actually something that was recommended to us. Alarm going off, excuse me. The MOA, I believe, says at the end that even though we're applying for the permit, they're agreeing to indemnify us from any issues that arise, any damage and whatnot that comes up. So it seems like we're applying for the permit, but they're responsible. It was a little on the last paragraph on the top paragraph on the second page. It says that.
So the town's going to apply for the state permit.
It's definitely a wordy MOA also. Steve, can you still hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you. Beautiful.
I'm snoring, so.
We just wanted to make sure we didn't drop off again there.
contradictory. Confusing.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
And that's coming from the state?
This is coming from, I believe, the people behind 195 Mansfield Ave.
Oh.
That is a letter, I believe, that was recommended. Yeah. Yeah.
From the state.
Yeah.
District 5.
Okay.
I believe Frank had a call out to Nicole and hadn't heard from her. So.
So this is saying the town is applying for it, and this is saying that these guys are applying for it. The permit.
Yeah. No, well,
Go to the second page.
the second page will even confuse you even more.
Awesome.
Yeah, basically the second page reads to me as kind of negating that letter in the permit is being applied for by us, but we are bearing no responsibility for the excavation. It's a little.
So, do we need legal to take a look at this to make sure there's no gray
I
area?
think that's what Frank would like.
That's not a bad idea.
Especially that MOA is very wordy, and it's.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's written with the intent to make it a little difficult to understand or whatnot.
But even if it's not, it's not
clear.
There's a lot of gray.
A lot of gray.
So why don't we have are you all done?
Yeah.
Just have council and you're okay. A good idea. Who's that? The other guy that used to come to these meetings? Is he the one that requested that? He's not bad.
So other than that, I think I am done. So.
Okay, before we sign you off, though, we should probably vote. Make a motion. Can I make this motion, or do you want to do it, Jim?
I don't have a preference. I'm supposed to. This is just to change for the.
Yeah, we're good. 3 of them, I think we're gonna.
Well, the two are changing, right?
What we're doing is we're adding a couple things to it, like the hydrant flow test. It's $250. That's going to stay, but we're going to for each additional one is going to be $100. Correct?
Well, for the hydrant flow test.
Hydrant flow test.
For hydrants actually being flowed, yes.
So that's new.
Okay.
And then the last one is the $250 fire pump test, and that's going to be per test. Because there's not a lot of people in town that have this anyways, but.
And that's changing from what?
From a $250 flat fee per location. So if a location has more than one fire pump, it's $250 per fire pump.
So instead of the flat fee. Okay. So we're changing.
There's no cap on it.
So do we have to do 3 different?
So can we encompass all one, or I don't know. Tara, you're supposed to be leading this here. I think you want to do one motion for each, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Just to.
All right then. I would like to make a motion to change from $250 flat fee on sprinkler tests to $75 per test. That's correct.
Yep. I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And unanimous.
And now we're looking at adding $100 for the hydrant testing for
The hydrant flow test.
the hydrant flow testing on top of the $250.
For each additional hydrant.
$250 additional, then $100 for each additional hydrant.
Okay.
Desired.
Then I'd like to make a motion to change that for, I'd like to make a motion to have $250 flat fee plus $100 for each additional for each
the initial fee is $250 for the first hydrant flowed. Each additional hydrant after that is a $100 fee.
Okay, motions for $250 for initial for hydrant flow, and then $100 for each one after that.
Correct.
Right?
Yep. I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
And then we're looking at just the $250 for the fire pump test, right?
Yep, that's per test,
Per test.
as opposed to one flat fee.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to change the fire pump testing from a flat fee of $250 to $250 per test. Is that correct?
Yep. I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Jim. Good job. All right. Now that's for you, Sam?
That's it for superintendent updates. Yep.
Okay. All right. Should we make Steve wait till the end, or should we, all right. Steve, you hanging in there?
Killing me, but whatever you gotta do.
Well, you're on, candid camera right now, so what do you got for us?
All right. So, as far as sewer updates, West Main Street, sewer, we have the state come out and inspect the paving and the striping. They had a couple of comments, a couple of things that need to be addressed. One of the manholes,
We barely hear you, Steve. Breaking up there, Steve.
hold on a second.
That's more better.
Is this better?
That's
Oh,
that's outstanding.
Is this good?
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right. I was trying to do it on speaker. So the state highway inspector was out, inspected the paving job on the West Main Street job, a couple of punch list items before they'll sign off on it. One of the manholes out near the intersection of Fernandez Circle basically needs to be made flush. It was, and Frank had mentioned at the last meeting that there was some concerns about maybe the plow catching it. But that was the only manhole that the state commented on, and then there was a couple minor comments on the striping just to clean up the striping at the intersection of Mansfield Ave and West Main Street. So anyway, the contractor's been notified that he has to take care of those things before the state will close out the permit. So we're working on getting that done. As far as, so the biggest thing...
Hey, Steve. What's entailed in the manhole? They're gonna have to jackhammer that out, or make it in front of that house.
I don't think there'll be too much noise involved.
Okay.
So I imagine there will be a little bit of jackhammer, but it's not much that they have to do, and it'll come up pretty easily. You know, it should be, like a half an hour to get the pavement out, and then they'll just be fixing it.
Okay.
So shouldn't be a major issue in that regard. So on the sewer betterments, there's some stuff with your packets. I think tonight I worked with Rose quite a bit today on putting together some documents. So previously, back in March, the commission voted to assess the betterments at $16,000 per unit. So that's already been voted. At this point, we've finalized the table, determined the total number of betterment units based on fronted properties in the project area to be 100. So we got a round number of 1.6 million that will be assessed and collected as betterments on the project.
Okay.
The table, so that's the table that you have there, the Excel spreadsheet kind of summarizes that. And we've looked at that table before, and we just did some fine-tuning based on the water use data for some of the commercial properties. And what we really did is we looked at the 2 most recent years of data, and then we also took into account how the flows had plummeted in 2020 based on the pandemic. And so we looked at the 2018 and 2019 data. That's the last 2 years of continuous use that we had. So that's how we came up with the units for basically for a few of the properties that were affected by the water use.
Okay.
So that table is there and will be attached to the other document. So the Word document is the actual order assessing final sewer betterments. So Rose will be presenting the table to the assessors to confirm all the addresses and homeowners, property owners as of January of this year. And then the other document there is the order that will need to be recorded. And once the order is recorded, that's when the lien will go on all the properties, so that all of these properties, before they, change hands through sale or whatever, will be flagged as having a betterment assessment that needs to be dealt with as part of that process.
Yeah, Steve, I don't mean to interrupt you. I know that was a question Frank had as far as sale of properties and whatnot, because I know we're dealing with that with a couple of locations on Newland Street, where the new owners were not aware of their requirement to connect to sewer, and the old owners kind of left them hanging the bag. So, Frank was wondering, in your experience, what happens in other towns as far as making sure that anyone buying one of these prospective properties knows of the requirements to hook up the sewer.
Right. So, the first step did happen where the letters went out to the homeowners at the time, notifying them that the sewers were in place and they would have to tie in, and they would be paying a betterment, and the betterment letters would be coming out. So the typical process is that you will record this order of assessment, and that, like I said, will get attached to the property owner's deed until such time as it is paid off. So it'll be part of any sale or any transaction that tries to, go down with regard to that property, if that makes sense.
So like the current property owner would be able to sneak that past someone buying the property from them.
Correct. There'd be a lien on their property going forward. And that's basically how it works. So the order that you have in front of you just has some basic legalese, some whereas, explaining what it is, and it's mostly language taken from the town meeting votes that gave the Water and Sewer Commission authorization to assess betterments for a portion of the project. It defines, at this point, the total amount being assessed through betterments and the cost per unit of $16,000. And I would recommend that the commission vote to sign and issue this order so that you guys can sign it and Rose can move it through the proper channels, from the assessors to the tax collector, and then the filing it at the registry.
Okay.
So if you don't have any other questions on that and you're comfortable with it, I think it would be a simple motion to sign the order assessing final sewer betterments.
Mr. Mayor. Okay, I would like to make an amendment approving the
Motion.
I'm sorry, I'd like to make a motion approving the order assessing final sewer betterments. Is that right?
Yep. Can I second that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
And then you guys should just sign that. You should each sign that tonight so that Rose has it, so that she can
Everyone
move forward with the process. So the Yeah, you guys. You're the ones that'll sign it.
We're on the second page, you want us to sign it? All right. Good, Steve.
Karen,
Thank you,
give me a
Steve.
hard time? Did you give me a hard time?
No.
I got in front of me.
I have the motion of the match in me.
Steve, there's lines where you would write your name.
Yeah.
On
I put right on one of them. Thank you, Steve. Seriously. Good job. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
Okay. And I think that's it on Cobb Street. We're looking to finalize documents. We're looking to have those like generator work out on the street this summer and have the work done this calendar year. So we're still on track with that.
Awesome. Good deal.
All right. So, and I think that's it on my end.
You can go back to dinner now.
I gotta go make it.
All right. Again, thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
If anything else comes up, Tara, you've got my cell phone number. Give me a call if anything else that comes up. But
I'll call you in 20 minutes.
All right. All right. Sounds good.
Thanks.
See you guys.
Have a good night.
All right, you too. Bye.
All right, Ms. Tara?
So we start with the water treatment plant. We had the Conservation Commission meeting last night. It was voted that the certificate of compliance is getting signed. We put up signs last week.
I meant to add that to the update.
Every 5 feet?
25 feet.
Oh.
So they were at 20, now we moved to 25. So there's about 35 or so signs,
Okay.
just along Plain Street, right at the entranceway of the gravel access road,
Okay.
Between the bridge and the dirt road there. And then as you go back through the gravel access road to the treatment plant, you'll see them all along the trees.
Okay, so it's just there. We don't have to do them on the other side at all?
No, we talked a little bit back and forth with the agent on that, and while we are not following the actual 25-foot no disturb zone, have them just close to the road to make sure the operators didn't do anything. And,
Yep.
you know, so she wanted to make sure they were visible off the road.
Okay.
So, but everybody's very aware that if anything needs to happen, it's, you know, trimming of trees or whatever needs to happen, cutting trees or excavation at state permitted. So, so they're up now and they're little discs about this big. And they
Do we have to make sure they're clear at all times and everything?
So technically, you need to maintain them in perpetuity. So they'll have to get more signs if any, but they're secured on.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're secured right now.
Yeah, they're pretty durable signs as
Yeah.
far as I could tell as well.
They're a little metal disc, so
Yeah.
Okay.
it'll last a while. If a tree falls, then I don't know how we handle that, but.
If no one's there, who's going to hear it?
So that was a good day. And I don't think I heard anybody got poison ivy. I didn't, so that was good. And
Okay.
then hopefully Frank and Chris survived too, because it was pretty rampant along that.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's on the trees and all around there. So, and then actually, so we were working with DEP on SRF final closeout, paperwork closeout, so they have all the forms they need for the actual certificate of closeout paperwork. The one thing is they did have some comments on our original final reimbursement request, and last week I scheduled a meeting with them via phone, talked it through. They asked for additional backup, so we're right now processing that. So Catherine over at Town Hall had actually asked, you know, where's the payment today, and we're very close to the finish line on that, but I just need to clarify with DP, make sure that they've indicated that over the past year or two, DP's projects have been audited, so they just want to make sure they have all of the paperwork and everything matches exactly. So we're processing a balance change order to make sure everything is in process and the numbers line up exactly with what the loan is. $4 to $10.3 million loan. The project was a little bit over that. The town has appropriated money from years back to cover that overage. We knew there was an overage on that. So we just want to try to maximize the entire $10.3 million as much as we can. So that's what I'm currently working with them on that. So hopefully we'll get that resolved by the end of this week. And they're usually quick electronic payments. So typically, usually within 5 business days or less, you usually get the get the money. So I know the town hall was concerned about fiscal year end, and we should be wrapping up well before June 30th.
Okay.
So that'll be pretty much it with the treatment plant. As well 4 was cleaned, that older pump that was installed when well 4 was adjusted, that's been pulled. I notified Hayes Pump, as part of the warranty issue, they're going to come out and get that and pick it up now.
Okay.
Send it to their facilities for testing, just to check it, and if there is any, warranty issues, they'll be credited to the town. And we've got the newer pump back installed, and as far as I know I was out there on Thursday, and Derek and Brian out there said the plant we're looking to place that online. So that the well cleaning sounds like it went well. The crew did, as far as the driller goes, they did, and I'm going to switch projects now, sorry, let's make that statement. So we're going over to the wells replacements 5 and 6. After well 4 was cleaned, the driller went back over to 6, and I think this week there's a little bit of delay with the screen. So the screen's been delivered, and I believe it's either carried to the site, brought to the site today or tomorrow. So they'll start installation of the screen and then development of the well, which usually takes several weeks. And then once that's completed, they'll schedule and work with the water treatment plant operators on scheduling the 48-hour pumping test for that. I did pop by the site when we were doing the pumping test for well 5, and everything looked great. 700 gallons a minute, steady Eddie.
Nice.
Everything was looking really good for that. Water coming out of the wells crystal clear. Went through the filter bag, through the rows of hay bales, through the rows of erosion control measures as well. And the energy dissipation is great. So we anticipate we'll be using the same setup for 6. It'll be a longer pipe from 6 all the way to the discharge location at well 5, but don't anticipate any issues with that either. So the biggest concern will just be timing at this point and where we're at with water. We worked with the operators and filled the tanks before we started, and we're able to sequence that perfectly for 5. So
Great.
I think we're in good shape. We did take water quality testing. I did check today. It does take usually a couple weeks for that, but we're waiting for that to come back in, and hopefully in the next week or so. But like I said, I think overall, no issues with 5, and we're looking to have the same process with 6, and then be ready to go, get the permitting in for FD approval to construct and start working on everything. And I think that's kind of it on the water update.
Excellent. Love it. Plenty of water over there.
Yeah.
So far, so good. Yep. Have we gotten any results back from the Pcas testing?
Nope. Something I should have brought up in superintendent updates. I did create a department profile on Facebook, social network, to better interact with the community, hopefully get a little bit more of a streamlined question answering process, and just overall improve the public relations we have here in town. The feedback's been great so far. It was made clear to anyone asking questions that all questions need to be polite and courteous, and it's not something that we're checking all the time. So please be patient with any answers you're waiting for, but the answers will come best we can give them. So someone had asked about PFAS, and there's nothing to tell right now. So
Well, I've heard very good things about the feedback and our presence on Facebook. The town website's great, everything like that, but not everyone accesses the website. Everyone's on Facebook, the social media portion, for their entertainment anyway. So it's best to you'll get more bees with that, honey.
yes, yeah, I attempted to create a profile on there using the name Norton Water and Sewer Department, but Facebook's name policies wouldn't allow it, so I'm under John Harrop, Norton Water and Sewer Superintendent, and I joined the Norton Neighbors Facebook group, and that's the only way I'm interacting with people is through there. So.
What I've read and seen and heard from people outside, it's been great so far. I know it's only been a week and a half, 2 weeks or whatever, but it's been it's a good thing. It'll be a good thing for our department moving forward.
And I'm learning through some of the questions on there, how many misconceptions and not good information is often posted and relayed on such things, and it's good to not just interact with people, but get the correct information out there best we can. So, I had some people, talking about manganese levels and not wanting to, eat and drink at restaurants, and asking about the levels in the street compared to the levels coming out of our treatment plant. Not believing that the water they're getting is as good as the stuff coming out of the plant. And I assured them I didn't reveal specific sampling results, but all of our distribution sample manganese results have been far below DEP regulations. So,
That's all you can ask for.
Yep, that's all you can ask for. That's all you can ask for. So,
the plant has been a big savior for this town, the best water we've ever had. Yep.
Regarding contact for us, we have town emails now. Do we want to put links to those on these Facebook pages? Or
I think that's a good idea. They can get a hold of us, and because I don't know, well, the email that's for the Norton.
Actually, we wanted to put something on for looking for a third for the board, right?
Yeah.
Is there something on Facebook addressing that, or?
No, not now. Not yet.
Do we want to write something up for that, or something else do that?
Yep, I think,
anything like that, I would say should come from you two, not if you're looking for another board member.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're part of that group or whatnot, if that's somewhere, or even a posting on the town website. And as far as getting your emails on there, that's something I know they could add to our page on the town website easily.
I think the protocol traditionally is going through the town hall and having them posting it, and I wouldn't want to recreate that wheel, as it were, But I know I've got a couple of people that have showed interest, all the way up to the point where, okay, write a letter to the town, to the select board.
I feel like some people don't understand the time and time commitment, and not just time commitment, but for lack of a better word, brain stress that sometimes can come along with this position. But we're lucky to have two good ones right now, but we could always get a third would be great. So,
all right. Well, you got any other anything else you want to bring up that's not?
I know with the end of the fiscal year coming, there will be a lot of time being taken. Employees need to use their time by the end of the year.
Are we able to utilize that time where guys can get their well-deserved time off without stressing our department?
Yes. So, that's the nice thing about having a scheduled book and whatnot, and, we're trying to keep Janice in the loop of who's off when, so we know when to schedule work. And luckily it's not like last year where we had a lot of employees not able to use time and had to go get special permission to bring time over because of the pandemic and whatnot. But seems like that shouldn't be an issue this year.
Is it an option if they do need to, so they don't lose it?
No,
it's not an option.
It's been decreed that is not going to be happening this year.
Okay.
So we're working with everyone to.
Was that a contractual thing, or is that something that the town?
So it is in their contract what they can carry over, and that was basically waived voluntarily by the town last year, and it's been said from the top that won't be happening again.
Okay.
So,
As long as
especially when efforts can be made for everyone to use their time. So
I think if we keep a good handle on it and tracking it, and we don't get to a situation where we need to, refuse someone time, I'd hate to do that. No one wants to do that.
Yep. So,
but we keep a track, and people can just utilize their time if they need to. It's well deserved, certainly. Great. All right. Well, next meeting. I unfortunately have a conflict on the 8th of June.
Is that 2 weeks from today?
So we can either go to the 15th, that following Tuesday, which works with my schedule. I just have it's actually the non-prom.
Pretty sure I'm on the road that week.
Okay. So
Maybe dialing remote if push came to shove, but
So we can you do that? Can you have
you're allowed.
yeah, I'm not sure. We can go to the 9th.
I'm around this entire week.
Yeah.
But I have to go to New York.
So why don't we plan for the 9th
9th.
and then the 22nd?
the 9th, I know I won't be here, but I'm sure Frank will be able to make himself available. I have a busy week, the week of the 9th, so. Yeah, so, I will not be here, but.
Are you still doing 6:30? When you're 5:30 time frame?
Yeah, if that's what works for everybody, that's certainly good for me. And
Okay.
is that okay?
That's fine with me.
Okay. So the 9th and the 22nd. Okay.
22nd's back to a Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yes. All right. Favorite motion, Jim?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
All in favor?
Second.
Second first. Second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Adjournment.
This session is no longer being recorded.